For this week's challenge, all of the food that I'm going to consume has come from a tin. Every single last thing. Hi, welcome to Eatrigue. This week I've set myself another challenge. For an entire 7 days, I am only going to eat food that has come out of a tin. Why? Well, why not? These are odd times at the moment. Tin food lasts longer than any other food, apart from maybe honey. There's numerous examples online of people eating stuff that they found in the back of the cupboard that's been there for like 30 years and it's still perfectly edible. And these are some crazy times we live in, so who knows when we actually need to start preparing for the apocalypse. I also don't really buy into that. I'm not the sort of person that wants to get themselves ready for the next extinction level event. I just thought it'd be a bit of fun just to see what we can create out of stuff you can find in tins. I suppose tin food does get a bad rap for being lesser quality. But a lot of good stuff does come in tins. I don't want to be boring with it though. I'm not going to just heat up a tin of beans for every single meal. I actually want to try and make coherent meals that you may recognise as normal food, but using only food that comes from tins. So I bought some ingredients where I can make things like a cottage pie, a stir fry, a lasagna, curry, even burgers and chips. To see what I can do. The only exception I'm going to make to this rule is water. I need water out of a tap, so I'm just going to carry on with that. I'm also going to use dried herbs, which are in glass tubs. So starting tomorrow, it's tin food all the way. Let's go see what we've got. So this is my tin collection. Yeah, probably quite a bit, probably a bit too much. But, I mean, like I said, it lasts a long time. So even if I don't get through it all this week, I'll get through it eventually. So, starting tomorrow morning, this is my life. Let's get started. Okay, so good morning. It's day one of eating only tin food for a week. And so first challenge, tea. Now the tea I normally buy comes in cardboard, but you can buy tea in tins. Technically it's not a can, but it is a tin, right? Traditional English tea bags. Other challenge, of course, milk. Milk doesn't come in tins, does it? Normal milk anyway, but you can get evaporated milk. Now this is actually a thing. Putting evaporated milk into tea is quite common in Asia. I discovered this actually when I went to Dubai. Normally in hotels they stick a kettle in there with tea and coffee making facilities, and in Dubai what they had was little cartons of evaporated milk. I was like, that's a bit weird. Let's pour some in. Look at the colour of that. Wow, that is like caramel. Alright, cheers. Not sure if I like that. I might have put too much in. It's very creamy. I'm not going to get on with it. I do have another option which I might try later in the week, which is condensed milk. So, which is basically just milk that's been condensed. I don't really know. Maybe I'll try that at some point in the future. On to breakfast. Today we are having cinnamon swirls from Jus Roll. Now you're like, that's not in a tin. Haha, when I open the box it will be. Let's have a look at this. One tin. It's got metal on the end, therefore it counts as a tin. So in order to open it, pull this tab here. Nope, that's just ripping off the cardboard. Okay, I gotcha. There we go. Some cinnamon swirl dough. So now I just need to cut it into 6 slices and put the slices onto a non-stick baking tray. Smells good already. So then you cook that in the oven for between 11 and 14 minutes. That's really precise. Let's go with that. Wowzers. They grew, didn't they? That's awesome. Alright, I'm just going to let these cool off a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the topping. Now, this breaks the rules a little bit, so I'm not doing it. But inside the packet, there's a little packet of icing. I was going to say ice cream, but it's not, it's icing. Which is powdered, but it comes in plastic. So obviously, I'm not eating this, but I'm not going to let it go to waste. So I'm just going to prepare that and give that to Fray, and she can have that. So apparently you prepare it just by adding a teaspoon and a half of water, and then just mixing it in. So for Fran, she gets the icing. I can't eat that because it's not from a tin. I've got an alternative. Lyle's Golden Syrup. Only syrup that comes with a dead lion surrounded by bees. And that isn't a joke. So if you've not seen golden syrup before, this is essentially just sugar that's been heated up to make a syrup, and it acts just like honey, except of course it just tastes like sugar. Okay, let's see if it's actually any good. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a good start to the week. Now, this is going to be a big feature this week because bread doesn't really come in tins, and this is the only bread I can find in tins. Obviously, I think in America you can buy tinned bread. It's not very common here. I was thinking of buying some and importing it, but they're going to cost me like £15 per tin. That's just far too much for, for one thing, which probably doesn't taste very good. So I decided against it. So that basically means that a lot of my bread this week is going to come from these guys. Great. It's time to start the day. Today's lunch is something I've not had in a really long time, and it's this, the Fray Bentos chicken and mushroom pie. I used to have these quite a bit as a child, and I just saw this on the shelf and was like, oh yeah, I remember those things. It's actually quite an odd concept when you think about it. It's essentially you just get your filling down the bottom there, and then you get a top of pastry, which I'm assuming is some sort of puff pastry. Yeah, it's puff pastry. It doesn't look very appetising at the moment. There's a lot of oil running around on the top there, so careful not to tilt it too far. I don't want to spill the oil all over the floor. You pretty much just shove it in the oven, cook it for 25 to 30 minutes, and then tuck in. So let's go. So that's what it looks like when it's cooked. It puffed up a bit. It's gone down a little bit now. I've taken it out of the oven, but it was puffed right up. Okay, let's give this a go. So I'm putting it on the chopping board because it's hot. I don't want to ruin my table with a hot tin. That is so weird and watery. That is very odd. Well, let's give it a taste anyway. Oh, that is warm. Need to cool my mouth down with some tinned Diet Coke. It tastes very, very metallic. Like, almost off-puttingly metallic. The pastry is nice and firm and slightly crispy. Chicken's cooked well. But I kind of feel like the metallic taste is off-putting. It's just like licking metal. That's what it is. It's very, very weird. Okay, well, considering this is the only thing I've eaten for lunch today, I'm going to actually eat it and just put up with it. But I have a feeling that if I was just eating this normally, I would just stop and make a sandwich. Because this is not pleasant. I suppose one advantage of eating out of the tin though, less washing up. So for dinner on day one, I'm going to make a cottage pie. Now, I have some ingredients here, including some minced beef and onions. And the packet says, great to make a cottage pie with. So I'm going to just take their advice. I've also got a tin of potatoes. These are just regular potatoes. And then we're going to serve it with carrots and peas. Although I'm wondering if I might just put this into the cottage pie itself. So what I'm going to do first is open the potatoes. I want to see what the consistency is like, see whether they're mashable, and if they're not mashable, I am going to heat them up to make them mashable. So let's just drain this into the bowl. Okay, well, they do seem quite mashable. Fairly bland and boring, so I'm going to have to put some seasoning in there, but I reckon I can just mash these straight up. Let's pour in some of the evaporated milk. Because, you know, you normally put cream or milk in mashed potato. Season it up with salt and pepper, as explained at the start. Seasonings and herbs and spices and stuff are not counted as part of this challenge. I can use as much of them as I want. And then let's mash them up. Ooh, wow. Okay, this is not working in the bowl. I think I need something a bit flatter. Let's try it in a saucepan. Which is where I would normally do it anyway. Just give that a try. Not bad. Now let's take a look at this beef and onion. Oh my god, that looks terrible. Wow, that is like grey. I mean, it smells alright though. It kind of looks like dog food. And I'm not talking the nice dog food, I'm talking like the cheapest crap. Yeah, it's not quite got the flavour I want. I'm going to pour all this into a bowl and I'm going to add some extra ingredients. So definitely start with a bit more salt and pepper. So I'm going to throw some herbs in. What goes well with beef? Of course, you've got sage, some rosemary, thyme, and some parsley. Let's mix those in together. I'm going to add in the carrots. Normally these come in water, and these are already pre-sliced, which is amazing. And we'll throw in, let's just put about half of them in for now. See how we go. I actually reckon let's put them all in. Why not? Just give that a little taste. Already it tastes good and it's not even warmed up yet. So I'm just going to pour this in. And now for the potato. I'm just going to spoon this on top. That is absolutely perfect amount for the tray. So now I'm just going to score the top. And now we'll eventually make some nice crispy potatoes. And there we go, one cottage pie ready to cook. So I'm just going to cover that now, and then I'll cook it in the oven for, I think I'll give it 20 minutes to start with, and I'll check it, see how it goes. And when it feels like it's ready, I'm going to take the top off, crisp up the top for another 10 minutes, and then be able to tuck in. Awesome. Whilst that's cooking, I'll give the cat her dinner as well. Even she's on the tins. Yeah, got some tuna. Tuna! Yes, okay, it's here. There you go. Enjoy. Okay, so this has been in for about 20 minutes or so now. And it's bubbling out. I'm just going to uncover it now. I'll give it another 10 minutes and that will hopefully crisp up the top and we'll have some awesome, lovely cottage pie. And then whilst that's cooking, I'm just going to heat up the peas in a pot. You know what? I think these are the type of peas that we make mushy peas out of. It's certainly not garden peas. That might go quite well. And here we go. Doesn't look half bad. Starting to get a bit of char around the edge. But it's looking amazing. Let's get this served up then. And just throw some of these peas on as well. Ooh. This will come out of the shells quite a bit. Alright, it's time to go try it. Here you go.
What did you do to the peas?
I cooked them.
You skinned them.
I tried to cook them a little bit longer than I was supposed to. But also these are marrow fat peas, these are not garden peas.
Okay.
Which I believe, I don't know, but I believe they're the same type of peas you make mushy peas from. Because they've got that green about them.
Yeah, they do have that green about them.
And the same smell.
The consistency is a bit like baby food.
Yeah. But when I opened it, it looked a bit more like dog food. I think the potato is nice.
Mm.
But the mince is interesting. Now the one thing I did do was I put everything in cold. I didn't heat anything up before I constructed the shepherd's pie. And I think that was a mistake with the mince.
Yeah, because I think you had to cook some of that water off.
Yeah.
Maybe even add some stock and then cook the water.
Mm. Just introduce some flavour into it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not going to get a Michelin star.
No. It definitely won't.
But it's warming and hearty and tasty.
Yeah.
I need some ketchup.
You're not allowed ketchup. It comes from plastic. Well, for a first attempt, not bad. There were some things I would change if I was to do this again. But you know, cooking's a learning experience, isn't it? So the more you do it, the more you learn. And you learn what not to do.
The better it gets.
Cool. See you tomorrow. Good morning. Still not used to this evaporated milk in my tea. It's day 2. So for breakfast today I am having a Hunger Breaks all day breakfast. This is a tin, obviously. It contains beans, sausages, mushrooms, pork and egg nuggets, and then mini bacon burgers. Sounds interesting. It's a full English breakfast in a tin. Now normally when I eat some beans in the morning, I will have it with some toast. As we've discovered, bread doesn't come in a tin. But what you can get in a tin is some croissants. So I am going to be cooking these to eat as a side dish rather than on top of, because I don't think beans on croissant works. It might, you never know, I'll give it a go. Maybe. This is very similar to the cinnamon buns we had yesterday. It's pre-made dough. All you've got to do is open the tin, roll it out, cut it up, roll the croissants and bake them for 10 to 15 minutes. So first step again is you just pull the tab, twist the can open, and out pops your dough. There we go. And we'll just roll this open. Oh, it smells very buttery. As you can see, it's pretty perforated. So what we do, you just cut along the perforations. You can use a pizza cutter because you get more accuracy. So you're supposed to roll this from here and along like this, so the corner ends up in a point, and turn it around. That looks alright, doesn't it? There we go. 6 uncooked croissants. Alright, all it needs to do now, stick them in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes and let them puff up. So while those croissants are cooking, let's take a look at our all day breakfast tin. So what do we have in here then? Obviously a lot of beans, some sort of ball, sausage, there's a mushroom, there's another mushroom, so we've got 2 mushrooms, 2 sausages and this nugget thing. Now I'm a bit disappointed when it says pork and egg nuggets, plural, but there's only the 1 nugget. Very disappointed in that. And here they are, fresh out of the oven. They don't look too bad actually. Slightly soft, maybe they need a little bit more baking. Alright, let's give these a go then. Oh, they do seem cooked actually. Whoa. It's quite nice. Nice and fluffy and flaky on the inside. Next time I'll cook them slightly longer. Okay, so now it's time to try these with the Hunger Breaks all day breakfast. Let's give this thing a go then. Now, immediately I get in the smell of smoke, as in like a fake smoke kind of smell. Beans are alright. It's kind of a meaty taste going through the whole thing. Sausage is fine. This is the bacon burger. Tastes nothing like bacon. It doesn't really taste of anything. It doesn't even have a pork kind of flavour to it. A big globule of nothing. And then finally this, whatever this was. Again, doesn't really taste of anything. How on earth are you able to make meat taste of absolutely nothing and stick a croissant in it? I'm assuming that's going to completely ruin the flavour. Well, the croissant has got so much more flavour than anything in the tin. There's so much butter in there. And it's so apparent when you're dipping it in the beans. Overall, a bit disappointed in the beans. Croissants are good though. So there you go. Learned a lesson today. Don't buy this again. for today's lunch, I kind of figured I need a salad. Try and be healthy. Let's see what we can do. Now, bear in mind, some of the vital things that you normally have in a salad don't come in tins. Things like lettuce, cucumber, peppers, mayonnaise. So I'm going to have to sort of be a bit creative here. So I've got a few things. I have got a tin of chopped tomatoes. I also have a tin of sweet corn. I also have some tinned olives stuffed with jalapenos, which I found interesting. I've never seen olives in a tin before, only ever seen them in jars. And in fact, I've got this one other product which I had left over from my vegan week, which I never actually got around to using, and it's mock duck. Official name is seitan, and it comes in gravy, and I don't actually know what to do with it. Mock duck is made from wheat gluten and is served in a gravy, a perfect vegan meat replacement for any dish. Add it into stews, stir fries, or eat cold in salads or other savoury dishes. Salads, you see. I think the first thing I'm going to do is open this, find out what it actually looks like, and then I'll come to the rest of the stuff. Check this out. That's what it looks like. As you can see, it does look a bit like a poultry product. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily come to duck. Right, I'm just going to try a bit. It has a sort of texture of that fake chicken that we had in my vegan week. And I suppose it does kind of have an underlying flavour of duck about it. Yeah, it's an odd one. Right, I think I might actually heat this up and have it as a side on the salad. I think that will work well, especially when it comes with all the juices. And the rest of it, I'm just going to open the tins, stick it in a bowl, mix it up. So when it comes to the chopped tomatoes, obviously this all comes in juice. So I've already drained this a few hours ago. This is the water / juice that came out of it, and so hopefully that should be quite dry, because what I don't want is saturated wet tomato. So that's going to be the first thing that goes into my mixing bowl. Next comes the sweet corn. Open this and drain that off as well. Let's throw that into our mixing bowl. And finally, the jalapeno filled olives. There's a lot fewer olives in there than I would expect in a jar. In a jar I would literally expect it to be filled to the brim, so that's noted. And now I'll go and heat up the mock duck. The mock duck. Now, it's actually got these massive lumps. In this one particularly, it's got the, I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's kind of got lumpy bits on it, and it kind of looks a bit like duck skin, which is interesting. So let's serve this up then. Let's start with some of this weird tomato sweet corn thing. I've actually just mixed in some salt and pepper and some coriander. Kind of figured it might need a bit perking up. And then to my dish, I'll add in the olives. And then we'll throw in some of the duck. Mock duck. And then let's just throw in a bit of the juice as well. Why not? Here, let's start with my weird tomato sweet corn combo thing. It's really bland and tasteless, even with the extra stuff that I put thrown into it. Maybe if I have to do this again, I would heat that combo up. Have as a hot side dish rather than a cold side dish. Let's go for this mock duck. It's certainly nice and warm. It does have a sort of duckish kind of flavour to it. I suppose if you were putting it as an ingredient in a bigger dish, it might kind of taste a bit nicer. But because I'm kind of eating it without anything, it's just a bit unsure about it. And that's my conclusion on mock duck. Time to get on with my afternoon. I'll see you at dinner. Alright, day 2 dinner time. This one's going to be interesting. Today I am making burgers and chips. First of all, let's talk about the burgers themselves. You can actually get burgers in a tin, and these actually come in an onion gravy. And I was like, well, if it's come in gravy, can you actually serve it in a bun? But actually, if you look on the back, there is a serving suggestion there where you've got some burgers in a bun. But I'm going to top it with some onions. These are some pre-fried onions. Chips. I'm going to use some tinned potatoes, which I'm going to drain off and fry. Bun. I'm going to use the croissant dough and try and fashion some type of bun from this. That's going to be interesting. And then, just because we need some veg, I'm just going to serve it with a side of peas. These are garden peas, which will hopefully be nicer and more interesting than the marifat peas that we had for dinner last night. Alright, so let's start with making the buns because we need to cook them and let them cool. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is ignoring the pre-perforated stuff and actually fold this over. We're doing that maybe 3 times. Let's do 4 times. Cut that down there, along there. Alright, then I'm going to cook these in the oven. I'll check in about 15 minutes. And yeah, let's see how they are. So whilst those are cooking, I'll prepare the potatoes. So again, I'm just going to drain them off. So these potatoes are actually quite small. Making some sort of chip out of them is going to be a bit weird. I'm going to have to make them sort of like little French fries. So I'm just reading the cooking instructions for these burgers. And it basically says you can either microwave them for 2 minutes or put them in the hob, enter the contents of the saucepan and heat gently, stirring occasionally. I'm not quite sure what that implies it's going to be like on the inside, so yeah, let's take a look. Well, first impressions, a slightly reddish brown colour. Smells of gravy. Put them into that's not going to work. Tell you what, let's open the other side. That normally helps. There we go, a bit of air that's come through. This gravy is all congealed because it's cold. That just looks a bit weird, doesn't it? It's like there's more grey meat. I mean, it doesn't smell too bad. I think what we're going to have to do is heat them up and see what happens, because this gravy is so congealed on here that just doing anything with it when it's cold is going to be difficult. So as you can see, all the gravy has melted away. And here are the croissants. They kind of look a bit like pain au chocolat, just without the chocolate, which is great. Alright, so now I'm going to look at these onions. Alright, well, they're kind of mushy. They taste alright. I'm going to start with the chips. So this is the way that I cook roast potatoes, and I'm hoping that by cooking the fries in this way, it will get them all perfectly nice and crispy. I've heated this pan up on the hob, throw some oil in, and then carefully, because this has got water in it, add in the chips. And then let's season those up a little bit, make sure they're nicely coated in oil, and then I'll put that in the oven. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm going to heat up the onions. So these already come in some sort of liquid. I'm just going to throw some of that in there, see what happens. I've got the peas, they're going to heat up, and that'll be our side dish. It's time to heat up these burgers. Now, I've got a feeling these are only going to take a few minutes because they're already cooked, so we're essentially just heating them up. Trying to get as much gravy off them as possibly can, but if it doesn't work, we'll just have some gravy burgers. So let's stick a burger in each of our croissants, which I've already pre-sliced. And then throw in some of our onions on top of each one. And we'll put in our well overcooked grey peas. And finally, chips. Don't look too bad actually. You certainly smell the part. There we go. Burgers and chips with peas, where every ingredient came from a tin. Let's go eat it. There you go.
Oh wow. Those potatoes look interesting.
Yeah.
And the peas are dead.
They were dead before I'd even opened the can, babe. Oh, I really fancy having this drink first. This is passion fruit martini, which comes in a can, so therefore it's allowable.
Allowable.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
I mean,
that's dangerously drinkable.
yeah.
I'm going to try these chips first.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call them chips. I would
No.
call them slightly roasted boiled potatoes.
They're not super bad though. They need a bit of salt.
Go for the peas. Slightly peaty, but dangerously overcooked. This is a gravy burger with onion served in a croissant.
Cheers.
Cheers. The croissant's nice.
That is all very tasty.
Burger? It's tasteless.
Really? Oh, I suppose. It needs tomato, needs a bit of mayo, and it needs some ketchup.
I'm actually quite liking the chips. I think one thing I might do just to change it up slightly, boil them up to get them warm, and then leave them out and let them steam away to dry up a bit,
That's a good plan.
and then cook them. But these peas are absolutely awful.
They are. Overcooked. I mean, what's the nutritional value of an overcooked pea?
Good buns, chips are alright, slight improvement, could make them even better. The rest of it,
Meh.
just leave it.
I mean, it's edible.
It's edible but not enjoyable.
Yeah.
There you go. That's today's conclusion. Alright. Cheers.
Cheers.
See you tomorrow. Massive taste of my childhood, is it? It's not going to kill me. That's a positive. I'm just going to mush it together a bit. It feels weird. It's not bad at all, is it? I'm really impressed with that.
This is very tasty. Wow.
There we are. I don't think this is going to be a very healthy meal. Swedish meatballs, do they buffalo? Just love that sort of creamy gravy. Interesting. That is brilliant.